Join the army and see the universe. In one of Robert A. Heinlein's most controversial bestsellers, a recruit of the future goes through the toughest boot camp in the universe and into battle with the Terran mobile infantry against mankind's most alarming enemy. Hey everyone, so in this video we're going to be talking about the upcoming Starship Troopers live-action film reboot that is set to be in the script stages right now. It's very early on in the project and the development process, but there hasn't really been too many updates about it, so I kind of figured I wanted to talk about my thoughts for how they should handle the new franchise and how they should really capitalize on bringing the Starship Troopers IP back into the mainstream. So according to the Hollywood Reporter that dropped the story originally, the Starship Troopers reboot is going to be much more closely aligned with the original Robert Heinlein novel rather than taking the kind of satirical approach that the Paul Verhoeven films did. Now obviously this is something that interests a lot of fans of the original novel and myself, because the Roughneck Starship Troopers Chronicles series did something very similar to this, in which it was much more inspired by the Heinlein novel series, but it also did meld some elements of the films into it, like the whole bug design and some of the bug variants that were featured in the series. But I think that doing the live action reboot justice when actually having it more faithful to the original book is the correct way to go, because we've seen so many films in the series now. I mean, most recently we had Starship Troopers Traitor of Mars. It ultimately showed why this franchise is losing steam. That's because it's kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And the way that the book presented the whole concept of the Starship Troopers was very interesting, and it still holds up to this day, and it's influenced so much of science fiction and military culture that it's almost criminal that you wouldn't take inspiration from the legendary novel. So essentially in the novel, you follow the story of Juan Rico, who was changed to Johnny Rico in the films, and you also have the inclusion of the skinnies. The arachnids are much more intelligent, they use energy-based weapons, they also are spacefaring, and you're following the Terran mobile infantry. It really is a coming-of-age story, saying the horrors of war through a young man as he progresses through the years and learns what citizenship is all about. A lot of the stuff in the novel is taken very seriously. It's not satirical or lighthearted like the film was, because in my opinion the film was kind of like poking fun at what the novel was, and it was poking fun at American militaristic might and, you know, jingoism and all that. And really I think that the novel played everything very straight. It was a lot of stuff that was influenced by Heinlein's own political views and views on the military and things like that, but he didn't get too heavy-handed with it. He even admitted that some of the things that people interpreted were actually wrong, that he doesn't believe in fascistic views or anything. And I think that doing a book justice like this, like Starship Troopers, translating a film like this that's so gritty and so realistic and also really takes into account a lot of stuff that really plays into society today and how we view our military and the role of the military today, and also kind of going over the society that the Terran Federation exhibits, which is one of citizenship and service and dedication. And I think that those themes would very well play into today's society. Honestly, seeing the powered armored suits brought to life and the actual mobile infantry that we didn't get to see in the films that we got because of budgetary reasons, I think that would be very cool to see and very awesome to see realized. You know, the whole idea of a mobile infantry force that actually moves around, troopers on the bounce, you know, going from point to point in their armored suits, and the real strategic warfare behind it, I think would be great to explore in a feature film. And another thing that I mentioned earlier on was including the skinnies as part of the story, because that's another gray area that you could introduce. They sort of started off under the arachnids wing, but then you find out later on that they were kind of forced or coerced into working for them, and eventually throughout the war they end up siding with the humans and helping them defeat the arachnids. And I think that would be a very interesting angle to explore as well, and I'm really hoping that this reboot does well. I mean, I do have hopes for it right now, but I'm a little bit worried because they have the writers behind the Vacation reboot film, and I don't know their other body of work, so I don't know if they can play things straight or if they're planning on playing it straight. I mean, it says that they're going to be inspired by the novel and play more closely to the source material. However, we don't know the tone and the direction they're going to go with this. So the inclusion of the skinnies I think would be really cool, and I hope that they explore so much more of the society and kind of the meaning behind the war rather than just being a black versus white type of thing, which is kind of what the film portrayed. So leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Are you guys hoping that the newly rebooted Starship Troopers franchise follows the books much more closely, or do you kind of want them to play it in between and do a bit of both, which is kind of inspired by the films that we already got with the humor and the satirical elements, or do you want them to just play it full on straight like the original book did? Personally, I think it's time for a change, and I really hope that they lean heavily on the original source material. As always, thank you guys again for watching, and for more on the Starship Troopers universe, subscribe to Hybrid Network.